So this is real Labradorite, but this isn't. It's epoxy. It's 2 foot by 4 foot, and it all started out as pink foam. Yeah, 1-inch pink foam. I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm Keith with KCDC Designs. I've been building, designing, and fabricating custom epoxy countertops for over 6 years. But hey, let's get right back into it. And all I'm doing here is I took a pencil and kind of drew out the shape of what I wanted this piece of stone to look like. Cut that out with my jigsaw. Now I'm just using my angle grinder, and I think I've got 80 grit, which it doesn't take much to grind through this. And you'll see a close-up of actually what it looks like, but just to give you an idea. So there's a close-up. That gives it a little bit of an idea. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It's just carve away and start building some character. It cuts really, really easy. And all I'm doing here is just kind of giving it some character. I'm not being real strategic with it. I'm just trying to put basically some grinding marks in there before we start with the Bondo. After I go over it with the angle grinder, I'm going to take some 220 because that angle grinder does chew it up pretty good and leaves little fuzzies and little things sticking off of it. So I'm just using this again to make sure that's the bottom edge, make sure it's rounded, and you can see how it's softened up quite a bit by going over it with the 220. Then I'm going to mix up some Bondo, and again, I'm not going to get real strategic with it. I'm just going to get some Bondo on the edges, again, just to kind of build some character. And I really want to stress you don't have to be creative with this. It's just getting some Bondo on the edges, and then I'm going to end up sanding that down to get the high points off. And it's amazing how cool that rock edge is going to end up looking. Now, I do want to stress, when you are adding Bondo to a rock edge, I'm really taking some time. It doesn't look like because I speeded things up quite a bit here. But you really want to press that Bondo kind of into the pores, per se, because you want to make sure that you get some really, really good adhesion. So I sped that up quite a bit. And I did put some Bondo on the top surface as well, and I'll show you a little bit of that as we go on. But as you can see, again, I'm not strategic with the Bondo. I don't want to say just slapping it on, but I'm basically just slapping it on. And I'm not putting it on very heavy. You can still see some pink foam through that Bondo because I don't want to put it on thick. For one, it's going to exotherm. For the other, if you put it on too thick, it can have a tendency to crack. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking some 220 with my orbital, and all I'm doing is knocking down those really sharp points. Again, this is a piece that is going to be on display, so it's not like a countertop where I'm worried about sharp edges on the drop edge. But I just want to get that sanded down a little bit, again making sure that I've got my edges rounded so the epoxy can flow. Once I get that done, I don't use latex paint on pink foam anymore. I'm not going to go into the whole story behind it, but pink foam is not waterproof. Water vapor, moisture vapor can still penetrate. So I'm just very lightly fogging with spray paint, because you know if you hit it too heavy with spray paint, you're just going to melt it. But that's what I'm doing there. Now, what I decided to do is I'm using Color Shift mica powders that change colors from different angles, and that's what Labradorite stone does. So you can see how there's an emerald to a purple shift. It is really, really cool. But what I decided to do was to brush those mica powders on that rock edge, because if I just mixed it with my epoxy, I was afraid it was going to flow over the edge and not really give me the effect I was looking for. So it was an experiment that actually turned out really, really well. And it did not take much on that brush. Just barely dipped it in the mica powder and it went quite a ways. But here you can see where it is so cool how it shifts from that emerald to the purple. And I'm just giving this whole thing some base. I'm only going to need to put a clear coat over the top of this with a little bit of color added in as well. That's RustOleum, and it's a Color Shift spray paint. I just came across that. It had to be a couple years ago, but it has to go over a black surface, but it does shift. So not only do I have my Color Shift mica powders, but I'm also going to kind of hit some areas, if you will, with that RustOleum Color Shift spray paint. And then what I'm also going to do, well, to back up a little bit, I'm not getting real strategic with it. You can see I'm just kind of fogging some areas. It's not overly prominent, if you will. I'm just kind of adding in again some layers to the point where you'll see here in just a few minutes, I'm just putting clear coat over the top of it. Brushing that on those edges really, really was cool. And I brushed it also on the top areas where I did have some Bondo. And I put the Bondo on the top because I wanted some texture up there. Again, this was an experiment, but it turned out really well. So yeah, it works. Now, if you look at Labradorite, a lot of times you see some brightness and there's some yellow in there. So what I'm doing is I just took some yellow spray paint and I just wanted to add some brightness to it because it is going to be a fairly dark piece overall. And so the yellow is going to add a really cool contrast. It's kind of add some brightness to it. I've worked on some sample boards and that yellow really made a difference. Honestly, up close it really doesn't look like much. And right now all I'm doing is I'm just putting a clear coat over it. I am using 4 ounces per square foot, only because pink foam doesn't always have a tendency to lay completely flat. And I want to make sure that I've got basically an average of about 3 ounces per square foot. Because when I start adding the fractures in there, I want to be able to have enough product on the surface that those fractures are going to be able to still move just a little bit, even though I want to wait until the epoxy is set up about 45 minutes before I start adding in the fractures. So all I'm doing here is I'm just getting the surface coated, making sure I've got my rock edges coated. And this too was a test because remember I brushed the mica powders on those on the edges. And I didn't know if the epoxy was going to pick that up and cause it to run off, but it did not. All of that mica powder stayed in place. And it's amazing how cool those rock edges looked. And so brushing the mica powders on really was a good idea. If those edges were smooth and I brushed that mica powder on there, I don't know if it would have stuck, if it would have stayed. But on the rock edge, brushing it on really made a really cool difference, to the point to where I know I can do that if I'm doing a countertop with the rock edge as well. So now I'm mixing up just a little bit of, I've got some very, very translucent black metallic. I've got some green that I'm mixing up because remember that was kind of a shift from an emerald to a purple, and I'm doing that just adding in some additional color into the epoxy. So I've got the very, very translucent black metallic. I've got the emerald green, which is also a mica powder that I'm using, and then I also mixed up a little bit of, and that's what that is right there. That is the Color Shift color. See how it goes on purple? It's crazy. It goes on purple, but when you start spreading it out, it kind of shifts back to that emerald look. When you look over the top of it, it's emerald. When you look over to the side of it, it turns purple. It's just really, really cool. And there is a lot of different types of, in brands of Color Shift mica powders. This one's called Two-Faced. I got this one from artist Til Death. It's a two-faced mica powder, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of it, but I'll make sure I put that in the description. So I'm being a little bit strategic where I put those colors in there, but when you're looking over the top of it, you will get kind of an idea of where you want to put or where you need some additional color. Because remember, all I had on the surface was just what I basically used with spray paint, and then where I brushed on the Color Shift micas. So that's all I'm doing here is wherever I feel like I need to have a little bit of color, and again, they're very, very translucent. I didn't want them jumping out. I really liked the foundation that I started with. Probably could have just gone with a clear coat over the top of it, but the black and the green, again, was just to try to complement everything, because most of the color was with the mica powders and fogging with spray paint. So I'm going to speed this up through here. With the Color Shift color that I have right there, I did want to have a little bit more of the Color Shift in some of those areas of the rock edge to get that to flow over. Again, and then coming up next is part 2, and that's adding in the fractures.
I go just a little bit further, and again, the reason I'm doing that is I don't want the epoxy to be as fluid. Oh, wow, okay, maybe not. That looks really cool. I think I might be able to continue. All right, I like that. And And as you can see, what I'm doing is when I put some of that black down, I kind of flick it a little bit.
And by flicking it, what that does is it kind of puts little little tails off of the fracture lines. And then you have to decide where you want the fractures, how you want those fractures. I just don't want them real symmetrical. If you look at natural labradorite, and the cool thing is there's so many variations, but they all have fractures. Some are going all different directions, some are very linear, and I think that's what makes a labradorite a little bit easier to create because you really can't go wrong with it. I'm speeding this up a little bit in here just because you don't need to hear me chop that thing, but it does give you an idea of how I'm being random with how I'm chopping it. Some of the lines I want a little bit longer, and some I just want in all different directions. And again, I waited about 45 minutes. When I tap that Bondo spreader into the spray paint, if the epoxy is really fluid, then that spray paint really bleeds. It really spreads out. But by waiting 45 minutes to an hour or even longer, once I tap that in there, it stays put. It really makes a big difference. And practicing with this, you'll get to know how long in your climate that you need to wait. Can you start chopping? I mean, in summertime, you could probably start chopping in 30 minutes. Wintertime, if it's cooler out, maybe you'll wait an hour and a half to 2 hours. So now let's do a flyover where you'll get a much closer look as to what I was doing. It's a very dark piece, so it was really hard while I was creating it for you to be able to see that. But again, remember, most of everything that was created on here was before the epoxy was put on. And very simple, there was nothing complicated about it. And in the classes, I hope you know that I do teach classes from preparation all the way to the end. And I make things very simple. I don't want to make it complicated. I am not an artist by any means. I couldn't draw a stick man if my life depended on it. It's just a matter of sometimes just studying natural stone, taking a look at it, and then doing what you can to kind of replicate it. But I try to keep everything very simple, very easy to replicate, because I want to be able to replicate it. And I want to be able to replicate this on a large surface. This would actually look pretty cool on a standalone kitchen island if somebody really wanted to make a statement piece. But be sure and subscribe and check us out, kcdcdesigns.com, and you'll see our class schedules. There's a close-up and a little brighter look at the fracture lines that are in there. But again, that rock edge, I hope you realize how easy that was to create that from the beginning of this video. But this piece just really looks cool. I wish you could see it in person. There's just no comparison. But anyway, I really appreciate you all watching as we continue with the flyover. Please don't forget to subscribe. And I've got a lot of tutorials from fabrication all the way up to creating designs. And I try to make things simple for y'all, so it's something that you can recreate as well. So be sure and check out our other videos. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions. I'll do what I can to answer. The epoxy that I use is Stone Coat's Countertop Epoxy and Stone Coat Art Coat Epoxy. I've been doing this full-time for 6 years, and the Stone Coat products, the Stone Coat Epoxy, that to me has been the best as far as durability, working time, and it's allowed me to be successful in this business. So it's a great product. Check out stonecoatcountertops.com, and if you want to save 10% on your order, be sure and use promo code KCDC, and you'll get 10% off your order. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you supporting my channel. And again, if you have any questions, please leave some comments. Let me know what you think of the video, and I'm always looking to improve. So if there's anything I can do better, please let me know, and we'll see you on the next video.